Gamaliel Gami Rodriguez. His opponent across the ring is the defending world champion. On my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trunks with yellow trim, hailing from Akarman, Ukraine. His weight 125 and 1/2 pounds. Following his storied amateur career, his professional record stands at 3 wins, 1 loss, with 1 win coming by way of knockout. Tonight he is making the second defense of his title. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the WBO featherweight champion of the world, introducing Vasily Lomachenko. Let's get a referee in charge now to give instructions, Robert Bird.
Okay, gentlemen, I gave you instructions in the dressing room. Recibió instrucciones en el vestidor. Wait, pay attention. Okay. When you hear me say stop, I want to remind you, when you hear me say stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing, give me a clean break. Okay. Recuérdate, habla pare, no te golpes para limpio. Okay? Protect yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Anything on the belt right here is a good punch. Right here is a good punch. Gentlemen, let's do this.
Just want to reaffirm, in case you think you may have heard us wrong, that man right there, Vasily Lomachenko, is seen in most quarters as having had 4 professional fights, 3 wins, 1 loss. He already holds a world title. That's because after his amazing amateur career, he demanded to fight for a title as soon as possible from his promoter Top Rank, and they satisfied the demand. There's Rodriguez, who is the #1 ranked contender for the governing body that furnishes this belt, and therefore the mandatory challenger to Lomachenko here tonight. Round 1 begins. Lomachenko southpaw, Rodriguez conventional stance. First punch of the fight is a Rodriguez jab blocked by Lomachenko with his glove.
For Rodriguez, he believes that 2 fights ago when he beat Orlando Cruz, also an Olympian, and won a very impressive decision. He thinks that gave him the blueprint to fight Lomachenko. Cruz was a lefty who was a very, very good fighter who was undefeated, and that's the fight that Rodriguez hangs its hat on for this one.
And that's not a bad fight to hang his hat on.
No.
However, 395-1. Wow.
Well, yeah, well, you know better than anyone, Roy, exactly how good amateur boxing is as an apprenticeship for the professional game. We asked Lomachenko in the meeting the other day, has he yet seen as a professional the kind of skills he saw from the top amateurs he was fighting, and he kind of bit his lip because he didn't really want to give the honest answer, but the honest answer was yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you had 396 amateur fights. You've seen it all. But here's another thing we got to take note of. The guy right here told us, Rodriguez, that he left Puerto Rico because none of the real Puerto Rican fighters would give him an opportunity.
We just saw Rodriguez a moment ago go to the body with a left hook and a right. That's his calling card. He's a very good body puncher, and if he's going to do it at all well in this fight, he's going to have to go down there, and he is doing that early in this match.
He has the kind of punching power that could create problems for a guy with such a good boxing skill level like a Lomachenko.
Well, we've talked about how good Lomachenko is. What are the things he does so well, Roy?
Well, he's very consistent with his footwork. His footwork is always perfect. He's never off balance. He can throw 3, 4, 5 punches at once without ever making a mistake. His defense is pretty impeccable as well. I mean, he's very good as an offensive and defensive fighter so far. Offensive and defensive.
Straight left hand down the middle lands for Lomachenko.
All right, stop. You're tired. Stop. Step out. Step out. Here we go.
Rodriguez has been the aggressor early. Well, now Lomachenko starting to fire combinations. Very accurate when he gets going, Al.
Lomachenko has tried to establish the jab, but he hasn't thrown it with a lot of conviction yet in this fight. It's a good weapon for him.
And the other thing I like about Lomachenko that you've seen that we didn't see much in the first loss that he had is he's so much more relaxed now. He's not fighting every round like he's done a 3-round fight and has to have his foot on the gas pedal the whole time.
Two fighters have spent the entire round in the center of the ring. Neither man, at least by my lights, has touched the ropes with his back yet. Lomachenko again landing a straight left down the middle.
Got a bell, guys.
Let's take a look at the keys to victory for Vasily Lomachenko. The side-to-side movement is always a part of his repertoire. Combinations, he's a terrific combination puncher. And the left hand is a punch that Rodriguez has been hit with in watching video of him in the past, and Lomachenko has a good one. As for Rodriguez, he squares up often when he's attacking, and that's a bad idea against Lomachenko. The body work, he did that in round one, and he's got to move his head a little bit more as he comes in. Has a tendency to not do that.
CompuBox numbers in the first round virtually equal. Lomachenko 8 of 30, Rodriguez 8 of 33. Neither fighter throwing a lot of punches in the first round. It was something of a warm-up round.
Yeah, Lomachenko decided to take a look at Rodriguez, and even though Rodriguez was very aggressive early in that first round, he tapered off.
He tapered off, but he does have pretty decent punching power. So what Lomachenko learned was you can go in here after this guy, but you can't give him free open shots.
Rodriguez, you know, he told us he thinks he belongs in the ring with Lomachenko. He didn't feel like he was coming here just to get a little exposure. And so I think that attitude by him, plus the fact that he has a couple of really quality wins, tells you that this is no cakewalk for Lomachenko.
Lomachenko feinting and using that side-to-side upper body movement that Al Bernstein talked about in Keys to Victory. Traditionally, when a conventional fighter lines up against a southpaw like this, you look for the conventional fighter to try to fire the straight right hand. There's a right hand that landed for Rodriguez over the top of Lomachenko's left. And of course, the counterpoint is the straight left hand can be a weapon for the southpaw against the conventional fighter. Oftentimes, their feet will come together. And generally speaking, the advantage is expected to belong technically to whichever fighter can keep his lead foot outside the front foot of the other fighter. Lomachenko so far appears to be succeeding in keeping his right foot to the outside of Rodriguez's left foot when they face each other.
And, you know, we just saw a moment ago, we saw Lomachenko, who's a superb body puncher as well, go down with the right hook to the body, and then Rodriguez came back with it. I think when we're done with this fight, we're going to have seen both these men commit to the body more than we normally do.
Partially blocked right hand lead upstairs. Robert Byrd flashing his Spanish as he tells Rodriguez to keep his punches above the waistline.
Second time he's warned him already.
Good right uppercut by Lomachenko right there.
And what can that punch do for him in this matchup, Roy?
Well, it can open Rodriguez up, because if he has to close his arms to block that punch, now the outside shots are much more clear to see.
He landed that punch against Gary Russell so many times, Lomachenko, in what was maybe one of his best performances.
I think that was the most impressive performance so far. He was fighting a guy who may well have the fastest hands in boxing, and he made him miss all night long.
It was an extraordinary performance. These two rounds, it's been interesting. Lomachenko has not been able to control this yet, and Rodriguez is giving a good account of himself.
I don't think Lomachenko's been able to do anything to blunt Rodriguez's confidence coming in, at least not to this point in the fight.
I don't think so either, Jim.
And as we go to Lomachenko's corner, our interpreter there is Steve Bash.
Hit more sharper. All of your punches, your lead punches, put your right up and then repeat your punches. As soon as you attack, then you got to jab them. Pull your hands out and keep punching. You understand? Your front lead. Lead first, and then 2-3 punches. Fast and accurate.
Twice in the last round, Rodriguez was warned for a low blow. This was the right hand that would stray low against Lomachenko. Now, he wants to commit to the body, does Rodriguez, but there is a danger in doing that and going low.
But that second left was low, but the ref did say the belt line was legal in the beginning, in the pre-fight instructions.
Well, and Lomachenko, at the moment that the punch landed, had his glove on the back of Rodriguez's head, so Rodriguez's corner would say, hey, he pulled him down. That's why the punch went low. Impossible to talk about a Ukrainian fighter at this moment in time without observing the politics. Lomachenko comes from the part of the country which is not now under threat from Russian insurgents. And his family is still there. Unlike other Eastern Europeans who are trying to gain stardom here in the United States, like Gennady Golovkin and Sergei Kovalev, he does not yet have a plan to live here in the United States, goes back to Ukraine between his fights. And says that for the moment there's no reason to worry about Russian insurgency in his part of the country, though of course he's got his eyes warily on the future. Unofficial scorers, Harold Lederman and Steve Farhood together. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim. I've got a 2-0, 20-18, Vasily Lomachenko. You know, Jim, he's walking him down. He's pretty good at walking him down. He's got Rodriguez punching off that back foot, and he lands that right jab constantly. He's beautiful, which sets up his straight left hand. So I think he did win the first 2 rounds. And now I'm going to show you how Steve Farhood has to fight. Jim.
Oh, then yes.
Steve, how do you have it?
Then he's listening to it and he's very good.
Jim, I have it same as Harold, 2-0, but that first round was very close. I would give no argument to anybody who scored it for Rodriguez.
All right. Thank you to both of our judges. They'll be with us at ringside all night long. Unofficial judges Steve Farhood of Showtime, Harold Lederman, of course, of HBO. In this round, Lomachenko has started to get a little bit more active, throwing more combinations, and he fires usually the 1-2, then moves to his left, and getting more accurate, it seems to me, as time goes on against Gamaliel Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's getting more accurate, Jim, but he's also been hit harder than I've ever seen him hit before in this round.
Harder than Salido hit him.
Yes, sir. He just got hit with a straight right hand. He took it pretty well, but my goodness, was it a straight, good, sharp right hand right down the pipe.
Lomachenko is pressing forward more than he did, let's say, in round 1 or 2. And when he does that, normally he is able to land with great proficiency. But Rodriguez not giving ground that easily.
This fight, a title fight scheduled for 12 rounds. The next preliminary bout you see with Leo Santa Cruz, who has held the title at 122, moving up to 126, is scheduled for 10.
And what you see right now also is you see Rodriguez is starting to fade a little bit, whereas Lomachenko's hands are getting quicker. He's throwing more combinations now, putting numbers together better, and Rodriguez is doing a lot less and doing it very hard, but not as sharp as he was in the first few rounds.
Couple of hard shots from Lomachenko there as the second stick away at the end of round 3. And now as we go to Rodriguez's corner, our interpreter there is Felix de Jesus.
Nice, nice. That's what you got to keep using. The right and the jab. Take a deep breath. Listen to me. You can find the stomach all night long. Got to move around and then look for the stomach. How are you feeling? Good? Yes, I'm feeling fine. More jabs too. You need to jab. You need to jab and then look for the right. Real close, okay? My hand. I might be having a little problem with my hand.
Lomachenko using that jab that they implored him to use at a point in between rounds, and it's a great weapon for him. It set Rodriguez back.
CompuBox numbers in round 3. Lomachenko getting a little more active, as we said. 23 out of 62 in that round. Rodriguez was 12 of 41. 10 of Lomachenko's landed punches were jabs. He threw 35 of them, really working off the jab tonight, Roy.
Yeah, he's working off his jab. Now he's using head movement along with the jab and throwing combinations to start to open Gammy up a little bit.
You know, it's interesting that Rodriguez talked about maybe having a hand issue. Lomachenko hurt his left hand in his last fight. It was a bruise on on the knuckle, and he assured us that it's been fine in sparring, and we have seen him use it in this fight, but not a lot.
He was fighting a Thai fighter named Chonlatarn Piripinho on the undercard of Manny Pacquiao versus Chris Algieri in Macau. Piripinho came in with a record of 51 wins and only 1 loss. He had an amazing record coming in. Lomachenko put on a show, dominating him through the 12 rounds, winning every round, despite the loss of the use of his left hand, at least as a punching weapon for the middle part of the fight. He used it to feint and did so brilliantly.
Yeah, Lomachenko's fought no softies in his 4 official professional fights, and he now has almost doubled the number of punches landed in this fight over Rodriguez, so he's coming on.
Stop. Stop.
And we heard one more warning for low blows from Robert Byrd in this round, and now he talks to Gamaliel Rodriguez again. Both unofficial scorers gave the 3rd round to Vasily Lomachenko, so he's building up an early lead on the unofficial scorecards at ringside of our 2 scorers.
And yes, and now Gammy has a cut over his right eye. That's not good for him because Lomachenko seems to be getting more fluent with his movement, more competitive with his punch combinations, and this could be a big problem. Like that.
Wow. Wow. I mean, when he starts to let his hands go multiply in combinations, you see the skill level, and it's breathtaking for guys like us who have been around the ring for a long time.
It is a thing of beauty, and that's why he's already cracked my top 5 pound-for-pound list.
And, you know, for a lot of people who are seeing this, they've never seen him before, and this is a demonstration of just how good he is.
Those body shots really caused some problems then for Gammy.
Stop! Let him out. Come here. Don't swing him, okay? Let's go.
We don't know if Lomachenko understands don't sling him, but he might have a sense of what Byrd was talking about.
Oh,
wow,
goodness.
That right hook is amazing.
And it speaks to the head movement and lack of it by Rodriguez. I put that in the keys. He's just not moving his head at all.
Stop.
Lomachenko was clearly just warming up and rehearsing in the first couple of rounds. Now he is taking over in a very big way. Oh, what an uppercut. This was a spectacular round for Vasily Lomachenko.
What's happening? Tell me what's happening. No, I'm okay. You're cut a little bit. It's a little one. It's no big deal. Listen to me. Gamaliel, how are you feeling? I'm feeling good. Go do the war. Give him the war. Give him the war, okay? You're letting him think. Don't let him think, okay? You're standing a little too much. Go for it. Take some space away from him. Take some space. Let's go. They're making a street war here.
CompuBox numbers on the round were mind-blowing. Lomachenko 37 out of 71, including 28 out of 45 power shots. That's 61%. Rodriguez landed 3 out of 28 punches. So what had been a fairly close fight up to that point became a landslide.
And to put it in perspective, when we get to our main event, Floyd Mayweather lands 50% of his power punches, which is extraordinary. So he landed 63% of his punches there.
And this guy, the corner men told Rodriguez, don't let him think. What the other alternative is, make him punch. Because if you put pressure on him, he's going to punch. So what's better, not letting him think or making him punch?
In his 9 Olympic bouts en route to 2 gold medals, and of course we all know that the Olympic scoring system has problems, but Lomachenko racked up 121 points to 5 average for his opponents, a total of 45. 121 to 45 over 9 amateur bouts at the Olympics. In other words, he dominated all of them.
Let's go.
These body shots are really hurting Rodriguez, and he's trying to answer with body shots of his own, but every time he does it, it seems like it's a little low. So he gets a warning from the referee, and he said next time he's going to take a point.
Lomachenko ducks under a left hand, pops up in an area where Rodriguez can't see him. The side-to-side movement is getting more dynamic, and Rodriguez is having trouble finding him.
One of the things about Lomachenko that sometimes doesn't get as much, they're going to have a point deduction.
That's all he needed.
Yeah. 1 point, low blow. 1 point, low blow. Swat that low. Keep him up. Go.
Box.
Yeah, as if he needed more troubles. One of the things about Lomachenko that doesn't actually get as much attention is his defensive ability and his movements, and we see him there slipping punches easily.
And the punches that Rodriguez was able to land in the first couple of rounds, Lomachenko is now either slipping them or blocking them.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's gotten the scouting report, and he knows what to do.
He didn't block that right hook then, but he took it very well. The left hook.
Rodriguez is not giving up in this fight. It's just that he's faced with a skill level that's pretty extraordinary.
That same left hook he landed again. It's high on Lomachenko's head, but Rodriguez is constantly landing that shot.
Well, at some point, against somebody, probably a bigger puncher than Rodriguez, we'll get a check on exactly what Lomachenko's chin is. He fought the very gritty, tough Orlando Salido, and Salido was able to get a decision win against him in a badly refereed fight in Texas, in which Salido fouled Lomachenko over and over and over.
Yeah, that part was very odd, but Salido is a good puncher who knocked out Juan Manuel Lopez twice, and those big punches did not get Lomachenko out of it.
Another fast combination for Lomachenko after Rodriguez had to turn around to find him. One of the things that Max Kellerman always talks about and marvels at in discussing Lomachenko, Roy, is how he uses that front foot to jab step and fake people.
And keep people at range. He plays a very good distance game with that right foot.
Time, that's all. Не втыкайся. Смотри, постарайся, ты обозначаешь, насыпай. Насыпай, ты пытаешься ударить сильно. You're trying to hit him too hard.
Не надо сильно.
Don't press. Don't press. Don't hit so hard. Don't try to knock him out.
Обозначай. Раз, два, три. Раз, два, три. Раз, два, три, четыре. Понял? Опять же, смотри. After 2 warnings earlier in this bout, Rodriguez paid the price for that low blow that went just under the belt line and in a very difficult spot. Now, the combination punching of Vasily Lomachenko, which we have been praising, pretty extraordinary. Now, it was an awkward action, but Roy, the thing is Lomachenko doesn't stop fighting, does he?
No, he doesn't. The referee doesn't say stop.
Yeah.
He does not stop, which is what he's supposed to do.
And he's able to land several of those left hands.
3-punch combination coming out of the little dance step that they executed there in the ring. Lomachenko's trainer is his father, Anatoly Lomachenko, who was a boxer himself, an amateur boxer, and has been a boxing coach and a high school teacher. Lomachenko says that he was taken to the gym at such an early age he doesn't even remember how old he was. He's basically been boxing all his life. If there are skeptics who wonder what will happen to Lomachenko's professional career, some of them point to the fact that his father is an amateur trainer, not a professional trainer, and there is an adjustment going on. Let's take a look at unofficial scores from Steve Farhood and Harold Letterman. Steve Farhood's score will come up first, 50-44. Just have a wild hunch that Harold Letterman's score is also going to be 50-44.
Now, you might be surprised there, Jim, when you see Harold's score, but the rounds have been very one-sided ever since that first round. And when I look at my notes and I see Lomachenko has a 65-inch reach, which is not very long for a featherweight, his timing and his movement, just superb.
Harold, 2 8-point rounds in a row.
Oh, yeah. You know, Robert Byrd took a point in the round 5, so that made it 10-8 instead of 10-9. But in round 4, Vasily Lomachenko went that round so big, Jim, I had to score at 10-8 without a knockdown. So I've got it 50-43, 5 rounds to nothing, Vasily Lomachenko.
And Vasily's father gave him a good bit of advice in the corner, told him not to go out and try to knock the kid out. Just box him, work the numbers, work the combinations, and maybe the knockout will come.
Lomachenko stepping to his right and firing the right hook around Rodriguez's guard. Now he moves left and sets up a combination there.
You know, much of what Rodriguez is doing in this fight against lesser fighters has worked just fine. And he's not fighting that much worse than the tape we saw against Orlando Cruz.
Last time, okay?
Right. All right, now that's the last warning for holding, according to Robert Byrd. So now Rodriguez is in jeopardy of losing another point if he keeps grabbing Lomachenko's arm. And Lomachenko has made clear, okay, you can grab one arm. I'm going to hit you with the other one when you do.
To be honest, I would take issue with that last warning. I don't think Rodriguez has done that to the point where it would be that.
There's another low blow.
There you go.
That's Lomachenko for the first time showing us that he might be his own referee from time to time. That's what he wouldn't do in Texas, right?
That's what you got to do sometimes. Sometimes if a man won't stop hitting you low, let him see how it feels, and that will remind him maybe to stop.
Al, that was a professional move.
The great Gil Clancy said, somebody hits you low, he'd tell his fighters, do the same.
So Lomachenko showing us that the education process continues in this his 5th or 11th professional fight.
Vasil, you're doing great. Same as planned. Everything's fine. Just try to turn him to the left. Try it.
Well, the continuing pattern in this fight has been Rodriguez throwing punches below the belt. Now, that one was actually kind of on the border, and you could make a case, even though Lomachenko working the referee, Robert Byrd. Lomachenko, as we pointed out, decided to take matters in his own hand by going downstairs, and that one also was kind of borderline, but you could tell the intent of Lomachenko.
Yeah, you certainly could. That was a clear message and a step up in development from what happened in Texas when Salido hit him low over and over and over, and Lomachenko never retaliated in that way, and afterward told Max Kellerman, no, I'm never going to foul for competitive effect. Let those other fighters do that. I won't. Obviously, times have changed, Roy.
Yeah, times have changed because he learned a lot. And what he learned is, anytime you're in a fight, you're really in a fight. You can't depend on the referee, your corner. Nobody else will stop that man from doing something that you don't want him to do. So sometimes the best way to handle that is to take things in your own hands and make him stop.
And you know you're not going to lose a point on one low blow.
Well, even if you lose a point, it's worth it sometimes to let him know that if you do it to me, I'm going to do it back to you.
Wasn't there a Bond movie, Never Say Never Again?
Probably a book, too. Harold Letterman wants to make a point about low blows. Let's bring him in. Harold,
you know, Jim, this is something I've been yelling and screaming about for years. You know, the rules of this, if you get hit by the belly button, you know, if you get hit below the belly button, it's a low blow. But you can't see the belly button because the belly button is hidden by the waistband. So, therefore, Robert Byrd has no clue what's a low blow. I mean, he sees a punch landing on a waistband. You know, in the beginning he said it was okay, it was legal. Now, all of a sudden, he's saying it's illegal. They really should change that rule and say, you know, a low blow is below the waistband, period. So at least the referee can see what a low blow is. Right now, the referee has no clue as to where the belly button is.
So Harold says he's been yelling and screaming about that for years, and those of us who know and love him would say, what have you not been yelling and screaming about for years? Another look at unofficial scorecards. And Farhood has it 60-53, and Harold has it 60-52, and Lomachenko's just piling it up here.
Yeah, that body shot just almost dropped Rodriguez. That hurt him really bad, Jim.
And he grabbed Lomachenko's arm again and got away with it because apparently it was on the other side of Byrd, and he didn't see it. But this is becoming a brutal display, and down goes Rodriguez on another combination from Lomachenko. I think the body shot put him down.
It was another body shot. That first one hurt him really bad. Then he followed it with a straight left down the pipe.
45 seconds remaining in the round, and it will be interesting to see if Rodriguez can make it out of the round as Lomachenko runs across the ring to get at him. He senses a possible stoppage here.
And those left hands demonstrate his left hand is just fine in this fight.
Yeah, the bruise on the middle finger, obviously not a factor here tonight.
This is far too much time for Rodriguez to survive, I believe, with Lomachenko going to his body like this, but he might make it out.
Rodriguez doing an effective job of covering up, but taking clean shots again in that situation right there.
7, 6, 5. Stop. Go.
7 rounds into a 12-round fight. Vasily Lomachenko, as expected, putting on a show.
We talked earlier in this match about that man Rodriguez wanting to establish his body attack. As this fight has wore on, it has been Lomachenko who has done it even better. Throwing both the right hook and then the straight left hand downstairs, he causes him to take a knee to try and figure things out. And a second look at this, Roy, shows us the commitment of Lomachenko to the body.
Yeah, he puts all of his body into that punch, but you saw how wide his feet were apart right then. That's what allows him to be such a devastating puncher, whether it's to the body or to the head. He has great leverage on his body when he throws all of his punches.
It was a delayed reaction knockdown on the body shot. And when you hit a guy in the solar plexus, as Lomachenko did, that's going to happen sometimes. They take a step or two. Oh, I feel a lot worse than I thought I did.
And kudos to Lomachenko for not punching there because he was down.
Go. Wipe some of that off. Wipe some of that off his face.
Little extra rest for Gamay Rodriguez here as Robert Byrd instructs Anatoly Lomachenko to take some of the grease off of his son's face. Here comes Vasily.
As we head into these later rounds, another issue for Rodriguez is he has never been 12 rounds in his career. So these final rounds, it's another challenge for him.
But you got to give Rodriguez some credit for his heart.
Oh, definitely.
A lot of people would have given up by now, being hit as many times as he has and as hard as he has.
Oh, my gosh. The uppercut was right on the button. The right hook was perfect. The straight left hand landed on the chin. His accuracy is growing as the fight goes on. That's partially because, of course, Rodriguez is slowing down, right, Roy?
Well, partially, but, you know, you got to give credit to Lomachenko as well. He is the type of a fighter that if you had to go in the dictionary to define moves of boxing, you would find his picture in almost every one of them.
That's why he's called high tech.
Stop. Come here.
And now Lomachenko says, are you going to penalize him again? And Byrd is going to penalize him again. Another point loss for Rodriguez.
1 point, low blow. You got to keep him up. Okay? Don't make me a part of the fight. Keep your punches up. All right. Let's go. Box.
Well, he's already made you a part of the fight, Robert. But that's okay. You're doing fine.
Well, you know, and I think Rodriguez, I don't know that he's deliberately doing this. He's trying to go to the body. Those punches are low, and they appropriately have to have him be warned. And Lomachenko's working Robert Byrd as well at this point. And that's a direct byproduct, as you point out, of that fight against Orlando Salido when he didn't get help from the referee. That kind of hand speed from Lomachenko is what bedeviled Gary Russell in what we've said is his signature win. And it's the thing that every featherweight that faces him is going to have an issue with.
Yeah, they sure are.
The irony being, of course, that Russell may have the fastest hands in boxing.
That's ironic.
But he wasn't able to land that night. Another thing Lomachenko does so well, Roy, is change his speeds on his punches. Sometimes he'll hit you with the softball. Sometimes he'll bring the medium. And then every once in a while you get the fastball and your head goes, ooh, I snapped it back.
And that's a thing of experience, Jim. Anytime you find a good pitcher in baseball that's really experienced, he may be able to throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but he doesn't use that every time. He uses his tech to decide which pitch he'll use at what time. Same thing Lomachenko is doing right here.
Rodriguez grabs Lomachenko's left arm again. Lomachenko can't pull it loose and lands 3 shots with the right hand while Rodriguez is swinging him around.
9, 8, 7, 6.
Count the punches if you can. Coming up in our next undercard fight, Leo Santa Cruz of Los Angeles comes from a fighting family, has a tremendous record, held titles at 118 pounds and 122 pounds, moving up to 126 pounds tonight against an opponent from Tijuana who was unknown until he was named to fight Leo Santa Cruz. A lot of people think this is one of the hottest young talents in boxing, and most people wonder, when is he going to fight a quality opponent? On paper, not tonight. Great smile.
Yeah, that's for sure. The issue for Rodriguez is this. And, you know, he has landed enough of these that Robert Byrd has pointed out a disqualification may be in his future if he continues it. And this is just the kind of fight where that sometimes happens. He's behind so far on the points that frustration sets in.
More astonishing CompuBox numbers, which begin to make you wonder when or if Rodriguez's corner will see the better part of valor and stop the fight to limit the damage that is done to their fighter. In round 8, Lomachenko landed 48 of 106 punches. The 106 his high number for the fight. Rodriguez landed 4, count them, 4 of 32 punches. Lomachenko 30 of 67 power shots among those 106 that he threw.
And what's instructive about those 32 punches, the number of punches thrown by Rodriguez has
What a couple of right hooks. What a couple of right hooks there. And Rodriguez is down for the second time.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And that was a conscious process for Rodriguez. He chose to stay right there.
Well, it could be. He took great punches, but he whether it was feigning surprise or not, he looked surprised when the count hit 10. But in any case, he took a lot of punishment.
Roy Jones, good Lomachenko or great Lomachenko?
Great Lomachenko. Great as usual, except the night on Salida, but I mean, he fought a very smart fight. He stuck to his attack. He played his part. He used his experience. Let this kid burn out early. Then he took over the fight.
What's the limit for him? Can he become, in your view, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in boxing?
Yes, he can, because he has all of the tools that it takes to become pound for pound the best fighter on the planet.
We hope that he learns to speak English so that we can all hear more clearly what he thinks about it.
He's working on it, he said, and hopefully that will happen in the near future.
Having Russ Elmer in his corner definitely helps.
Here are the